Okay.
Alrighty. So welcome to ASU.
Thank you very much again.
So I know this was to be an exchange of ideas about innovations in higher education. So I wanted to start by asking you that in the last 2 days, what are one or two of the most interesting innovations at ASU that you've heard about?
Well, first of all, I want to thank President Crow and his team for inviting us to ASU. And the most interesting thing to me is not like one or two innovations, but the whole culture of what Dr. Crow calls perpetual innovation. I mean, how in all and every process at different levels of the institution and the organization, this culture, this motivation to innovate permeates in basically the whole university. That's a very difficult thing to achieve, and ASU since 2002, under the leadership and vision of Dr. Crow, is able to developing this perpetual innovation culture, and that's very, very impressive because it's very difficult for institutions as complex as universities to do that in a massive scale. So I'm very impressed by that. I had the chance to read the book of Michael Crow some years ago, but being able, the New American University, being able to have a conversation with him and his staff about the specific changes and the politics and policy processes involved in this profound transformation, it's very, very impressive and very inspiring as well.
And I know they said it was a conversation both ways. So what are some innovations at your university that you would like to share with ASU? What's something that you've done that you think that we could benefit from?
Well, let me say, first of all, that the University of Guadalajara is also a highly innovative institution. One of the things that the University of Guadalajara did back in 1995 was to decentralize. Before that, it was just a university with one main campus and different schools within the metropolitan area of Guadalajara in the state of Jalisco. In 1994, 1995, under the leadership of a group of people, a new vision was developed that we needed, in order to innovate in a better way, we needed to decentralize. Because we are, let me tell you, a 280,000 student university. So we're also massive as ASU with 80,000 students, which for the United States is a very, very large number. So the University of Guadalajara was able to transform profoundly as well, and build, instead of just one institution with schools, a network of small universities. We have 15 small universities, 15 campuses within the whole state of Jalisco. So I think, I mean, it's not, I wouldn't like to say that it's something that ASU should do. I mean, but it's an innovation that many other institutions in Mexico have tried to develop with some different degrees of success. So this decentralization allowed us to grow without compromising academic quality, and to take the university to underserved communities instead of bringing the students to the metropolitan area of Guadalajara. So that's one I think, and I like to think this profound transformation and innovation of the University of Guadalajara in the context of Mexico and Latin America.
One of the concepts that Dr. Crow talked about today, and they discussed this here too, was expanding access to more students, more kinds of students at different socioeconomic levels. Is that something that you're working on at the University of Guadalajara, and how are you doing that?
Of course. Well, the decentralization of the institution was part of the reason. One of the reasons why we did that is to expand access, to build small universities in different, generally underserved and low socioeconomic regions. But of course, growing with brick and mortar schools is difficult because of the lack of budget resources. So what we're doing, and we are very interested in developing a collaboration with Ed Plus of ASU is to learn more. We have an online system, by the way, but we only have 4,000 students. So learning that Ed Plus has 300,000 students around the world and in the United States is something very promising. We just had a meeting with Dr. Crow and President Bravo Padilla, the rector of the University of Guadalajara, and we talked about a joint venture between our online system and Ed Plus to reach more students with the technology, artificial intelligence that you are developing, which is amazing, and to join efforts in that regard, and also that ASU can also reach some students in Mexico for online courses.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see. Ken, did you have any questions you wanted to ask?
No, you're really covering it very well.
Yes,
Yeah.
this has been great.
Okay.
Very helpful.
Yeah,
No, my pleasure.
This has been really good. Pretty much, basically, what I was looking for here. I don't think that this was going to be part of the 3 days, but I'm going to ask this anyway. Sports is a big deal here in the United
Sports?
States. Yes,
I know.
And at ASU and at universities in the United States. Do you have the same system in Guadalajara? Do you have sports teams at your universities there? And
Yes, but not American football. We are big fans of soccer. So we have a team. Used to be very famous, still famous, the Leones Negros, the Black Lions, a soccer team. Used to be in the first league. Now it's in the second division. But students are very enthusiastic and professors to go and cheer our team. So it is a big deal in Mexico, but not as in the United States, talking about sports and as integral part of the institution admission. Mm-hmm. So I mean here, sports is part of the different sports are part of the education. We're trying to build that as well, since from the different campuses, attracting students to play not only soccer, of course, but different sports. But we're in that process. The difference is in Mexico and most Latin America, universities are commuting institutions, so students do not live there. So that's a barrier in terms of developing sports and sports facilities. But we're working on that as well.
do you have dormitories?
No, we don't.
Okay.
It's not a tradition for some reason in Latin America and in Mexico. Not only public universities, but private universities in general, they do not have dorms. Perhaps one or two specialized research institutions, but the norm is to commute.
I didn't know that. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, I know you visited a couple different places around campus. What struck you about our campus? What did you?
Well, it's not the first time that I'm here in ASU. Luckily, I mean, but the Decision Theater is very impressive. We're going today. I had the chance to see it a couple of months ago, and also what you're doing with solar panels and what you're doing in your energy transition program. It's very impressive. We started with a program similar last year. So again, in the meeting between President Crow and President Bravo Padilla, a potential agreement was reached in terms of sharing best practices in our sustainability program and energy transition. So that's part of the campus that really liked me. That I really liked. The solar panels in campus.
What's one of your biggest challenges with, I know you're giant like we are, even bigger. What's one of the biggest challenges at your university?
Well, that's a very good question. We have many challenges, but one thing is to pay much more attention on students' success. And in Mexico, many universities are massive. We are the second largest after the National University of Mexico, UNAM. And I'm not saying that we do not pay attention to student success, of course, but we need to with the help of technology, as ASU is doing, we need to focus more on how our students doing, not only focusing on access and graduation, but on the general process. So that's one of the things, in my view, that are key. The second thing is to better learn to get resources, to get financial resources from different sources, not only from government. Public universities and public state universities in Mexico and in general in Latin America, we are used to getting money, funding from one or two sources of fiscal revenue, federal and state. And it's very impressive how ASU receives only 10% of its budget from public resources. The rest is from different sources, research, collaboration, industry, philanthropy, tuition. So that's real autonomy in my view, and independence. So we need to do that. We have ideological barriers in Latin America with the tuition issue, with the collaboration with industry, but little by little we're changing in that regard and providing, depending on many sources, not only from fiscal revenue.
Excellent. I think I've said that's great. This is
No,
great.
thank you.
Really wonderful. And what is your title?
I'm Vice Provost for International Affairs of the
Oh.
university. Yeah, so I'm in charge of the.
Okay. Go ahead and hit record.
Can
you
walk our right.
Do you mind saying that again?
Saying
The last.
the whole interview.
No.
I have to check my notes.
My question of what do you see as the big vision for the future?
Okay, sure.
And then afterwards, we'll ask you your name.
Well, what I'm saying is that I see that our presidents have a very good relationship because our universities and our countries in some way face common challenges. We share a 3,000 miles border. We are in our geographical location is getting warmer. So we, one of the specific projects that were mentioned in the meeting between our rectors was to develop a joint program, a master's degree on global adaptation, climate adaptation. And I just learned that because I mentioned it in the meeting with Dr. Crow, climate change. And he said, correctly of course, that climate is going to change anyway. So the correct concept is climate adaptation, which is good. So I just learned that. And also, we are about to open a small office of Universidad de Guadalajara on the premises of ASU, which is going to help foster and make this collaboration a reality. We're really happy because this generosity of our of ASU in terms of providing and helping installing this university. So in the future, next year, we will have hopefully a permanent representative, a researcher of UDG here, helping us making these projects a reality.
Will that include students from ASU being able to?
Exactly. That's something we are very interested. We have sent. Let me tell you briefly. We have sent in the past 4 years more or less 300 students from UDG to ASU, specifically to short programs on innovation and entrepreneurship. So we have received not that many students from ASU, but a couple of them, 10 of them, in our summer Guadalajara summer study program, which is a 1-month program, like a total immersion in Spanish and Mexican culture and Mexican business. So we would like to expand that and being able to develop this collaboration. I'm sure in the future we'll see more students of ASU in Guadalajara, which is, by the way, a very safe city, and in terms of have 6 universities. There are 6 universities, top universities. So it's like a very innovative environment as well. So all the students that have come from the United States to Guadalajara return very happy with the city and with the university. So we want to foster this collaboration the other way around as well. and also professors, sharing some professors for a couple of weeks, short stays.
Carlos, ¿te puedo hacer la pregunta de la oficina en español?
Sí.
Entonces, ¿me puedes contar un poco de qué va a hacer la UDG con ASU en términos de la oficina?
Bueno, te respondo en español.
Sí,
sí. Bueno, esta iniciativa surgió de manera inicial en una reunión en Guadalajara, cuando estuvo el doctor Michael Crow, Jim O'Brien, el doctor Rangel de asesor. Entonces se empezó a explorar la idea. La Universidad de Guadalajara, como parte de su estrategia de internacionalización, va a abrir, o está en ese proceso de abrir 3 o 4 oficinas pequeñas, se le llaman como antenas, ¿no? Oficinas de una persona. En Estados Unidos estamos por abrir una en Boston, ¿sí? Una en Francia, en Toulouse, y estaremos explorando también una en España, para fortalecer la colaboración con regiones que nos interesan y nos parecen estratégicas. En ese contexto, bueno, por cierto, la Universidad de Guadalajara tiene ya no una oficina, sino ya prácticamente un edificio en Los Ángeles, ¿sí? Que se dedica principalmente al desarrollo de actividades culturales para la población hispana de Los Ángeles, principalmente la población hispana de Jalisco, ¿sí? Eso lo tenemos desde hace ya 7, 8 años y ha funcionado muy bien en la parte cultural y literaria, ¿sí? Estas oficinas son parte de esta estrategia para fortalecer, reitero, la colaboración con partners clave, con regiones clave. Estados Unidos, por supuesto, es la región prioritaria. Entonces surgió ahí un planteamiento de por qué no, por esta relación que ya tienen Arizona State y Guadalajara, por qué no abrir una oficina aquí para poder tener una colaboración mucho más estrecha. Sí, y bueno, gustó la idea, el Dr. Crow y Jim O'Brien, una visita que yo tuve hace algunos meses, comentaron pues que adelante, y serían 3 temas de manera muy concreta. Lo que estaremos pensando es enviar un investigador o investigadora, ¿sí? Que también de alguna manera sea un vínculo entre la academia de la UDG y los académicos aquí, ¿sí? Que pueda insertarse en algunos proyectos de su área de especialización. Pero eso será una parte como un profesor visitante, digámoslo así. Pero parte de las actividades sustantivas de esta persona es dar seguimiento a los proyectos y buscar nuevas oportunidades de colaboración con los profesores de Arizona, no solo con ASU, sino con otras instituciones de Estados Unidos y de la zona, pero principalmente con ASU, buscar posibles colaboraciones e intereses mutuos, ¿sí? Sabemos que hay temas que les pueden interesar a ustedes. Por ejemplo, comentábamos con el Dr. Crow hace un rato, ASU tomó la decisión hace algunos años de no tener escuela de medicina, pero tiene socios muy importantes como la Clínica Mayo y algunas otras instituciones hospitalarias. La UDG tiene el complejo hospitalario más grande de México y tiene escuela de medicina, entonces puede ser una colaboración en ese sentido. Entonces, tener una persona que dé seguimiento a este vínculo, creemos que puede ayudar a identificar oportunidades clave, ¿sí? Y el tercer punto, que ya lo estamos haciendo, pero sería continuar, es lo que mencionabas del intercambio de estudiantes y profesores, ¿sí? Pero para eso sí es muy importante identificar los partners clave y los champions, como comentan, ¿no? Y finalmente, nos interesa muchísimo a través de esta colaboración poder desarrollar proyectos de investigación conjunta de problemas que interesen tanto a Estados Unidos y a México, con recursos del gobierno mexicano y del gobierno norteamericano, problemas comunes, ¿no? Como el tema del cambio climático, sin duda. Entonces, esos son los 3, 4 puntos principales de esta oficina que, bueno, en el futuro cercano se concretará, ¿no?
Perfecto. Gracias. Yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
Can you say your name for me, just so we have it?
Carlos Iván Moreno, Vice Provost for International Affairs of the University of Guadalajara. A pleasure to be here.
Can you spell your name, just so we have it as a record?
Carlos, CARLOS IVAN MORENO.